Okay guys, today I am showing you what it takes to bake some loaves to sell and how to start the whole process the day before by growing your starter so you can make 10 loaves or so. And then I also threw in some cupcakes for this baking day. So this is a Friday and I started yesterday afternoon about 2 to start building my starter, and I'm going to take you through every single step. Okay, I am going to start building my starter. It's like 2 in the afternoon, and I'm going to start building my starter so that I can start a bunch of loaves tonight for a bake day tomorrow, because I sell my bread and it's so much fun. So I'm going to just show you how to do it. This is not a huge bake day tomorrow, so these many hours is just about a perfect amount. So I'm starting with 1 cup of sourdough starter, and I left half a cup in here. I'm going to feed this one with 1 cup of flour and ½ cup of filtered water, and I'm going to feed this 2 cups of flour and 1 cup of filtered water. This is doing the method that whatever your starter is, when you're growing it or when you're feeding it, you do twice that of the flour. So this is 1 cup of starter, so I'm doing 2 cups of flour, and then half of the amount of flour is in the water. Okay, so then they'll both grow in the next 4 to 6 hours tonight. I'll start my loaves. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. By 7 o'clock or so, I'll start my loaves. Okay, I just put 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of filtered water in there, and I'm gonna stir it up really well. And then I just did the same thing, only different amounts. 1 cup of flour and ½ a cup of filtered water. And then I'll cover this with the wet cloth, put the lid back on here, leave it on my counter, and let it do its magic. And it will become active for putting the loaves together for tonight that I'll bake in the morning. This is what it looks like when you feed your starter. When it's kind of like a peanut butter texture like this, not runny, nice and thick, it will raise so fast and become active and ready to rock and roll. And it will raise so beautifully. If you make it too runny, it doesn't raise as well. And the reason why is it's not fed as well. It doesn't have enough food, which is the flour. And so here is this again, and here, same thing. It's nice and thick like peanut butter. These will raise really nice. I have totally experimented with this. And if it's runny, it takes longer to raise, and it's not as active because it's hungry. Sometimes it won't even raise as big. Like if this was runny, it would only raise to about here. And when it's thick with lots of nice food for it, it will raise up to here. I'll see you in about 4, 5, or 6 hours. And they're gonna do their magic now. See you in a little bit. So fun. Okay. Look what we got. Look at that. That's all starter for us. And then we have, so we're gonna start making some bread. Okay, in case you wanna do the same kind of thing, I'm just gonna show you everything. So I'm gonna divide this into 2 for 2 different batches. And then this one over here is just gonna be 1 batch. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's gonna be a triple batch of either a triple batch of sandwich bread or a double batch of artisan. They're the same recipe, but just slightly different, and I'll show you. So I had enough starter to do 4 batches, which means more than 4 batches. I've got a cup of starter, 3/4 of a cup to a cup of starter in each of these bowls. I am going to do sandwich bread, just plain sandwich bread in this one. I'm going to do 2, and that's 3 loaves. And then with the artisan bread, I'm going to do 2 artisan loaves with this. And then with this one, I'm gonna do 2 more artisan loaves. So I'm gonna have 4 artisan loaves. In this last one, I'm also gonna do sandwich bread, but I'm gonna do inclusions in this one, and that's 3 loaves. And I think we'll do it sweet. So 3 sweet loaves. Maybe go with chocolate is my thought. Okay, I'm gonna start adding everything and showing you how I do it. We'll start with the 2 double batches of artisan loaves. It's gonna have 8 cups of flour in each one of these and 4 cups of water, just scant 2 cups. So 2 full cups and then 2 cups that are scant by about 2 tablespoons each. And then 4 teaspoons of salt. I'll do one at a time and I won't repeat it, so it's not so redundant, but I'll just do one and then you'll know I'm doing it. Okay, I just did 2 cups and then 1 more just scant, and I'm gonna do the second one just scant. That's what it looks like. So 2 full cups and 2 that are just scant. Then I'm gonna add my 4 teaspoons of salt and give this a little stir, and then add the 8 cups of flour. Okay guys, 4 teaspoons of salt. Give that a little stir. And it doesn't have to break all that starter all the way up. It's just gonna become a little bit milky. We're just kind of stirring that salt in a bit. All right, then 8 cups of flour is coming in next. Then I'll do that exact same thing with this one. That will give us our 4 artisan. Show you how I do my cup too. I scoop it in and shake it so it's not packed down. Okay, so it's loosely scooped up. Nice. Okay, I did already 8 in here, and I'm gonna stir it up. People, they're both ready. I just wanna show you what the dough looks like. That's going to, I'm gonna put a wet towel over that and this one for the artisan, and come back in half an hour and do stretch and folds, and then in another half an hour and do stretch and folds. Then it's ready to sit overnight. Now with these, I'll start on the sandwich bread, and I'll show you how we do that one. One will be plain sandwich bread, and we'll start with that. Very similar to the same recipe. So we're gonna do 4 cups of water, 4 teaspoons of salt, and 8 cups of flour, but we're also gonna do 4 teaspoons of sugar. And there's no scant cups, just 4 full cups. So the dough will be a little bit more wet. And then we won't do any stretch and folds on the sandwich bread. This is the 1 cup of starter, and then 4 cups, full cups of water, and 4 teaspoons of salt and 4 teaspoons of sugar. I'm gonna give this a little stir. Okay, the salt and the sugar is incorporated in there, and then there's still big lumps of starter, no problem. 8 cups of flour. Here's the 8 cups, and you'll notice when I stir this, it's gonna be a lot wetter than that dough. Even though it's really not that much more water, but that little bit makes a difference. And I'll show you what it looks like. Here's the sandwich loaf. You can see how wet this is. I'm never touching this again now until morning when I shape it. I don't even shape it. I just plop it into the sandwich loaves. It's the easiest thing in the world. And see, you can see the difference between the artisan and how wet this is. Okay, now we're going to move on to the chocolate. So it's going to be exactly how we make the sandwich loaf. So it's 4 cups of water and about 1 cup of sourdough starter. You know, a half a cup to a cup is fine. Either works. I've tested them all. So we're going to add now 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and then 1/4 a cup of sugar, 4 teaspoons of salt. And I'm going to mix that up really well. Then add a bag of milk chocolate chips, and then the 8 cups of flour. I'm going to pour that in. It's 2 heaping tablespoons of cocoa powder, 4 teaspoons of salt, and 1/4 cup of sugar. And I'm going to give that a stir. Add the chocolate chips, and then add the flour. Chunks, just like in the others of the starter. It doesn't have to be perfectly mixed in, because when we work in the flour, it'll work. It's all the way through. I'm going to add the chocolate chips now, and then the flour. A little stir. Some inclusions you can't add at this stage, because if you, like if you're adding something like nuts or cranberries, that kind of thing, and the water will kind of make it get too soft. But with these ingredients, it won't hurt it at all. That's the 8 cups of flour. I'm going to stir this in and let you see what it looks like. That dough, does that look fun or what? All right, so I'm going to cover all of these with a wet towel like I did the first one. And it's probably time to do stretch and fold, so I'll do that really quick. And then cover these. These 2 I will not touch again until I plop them into the bread pans. Kind of crazy. And we'll show you that in the morning when these have risen. Okay, I'm going to stretch and fold with one hand since I'm recording with the other. So just take a corner, pull it up, turn it. When you have two hands, it's a lot easier, believe me. But this gets the job done. You've seen the bread, how good it looks when I'm done at the end of all of this madness. So tomorrow we're gonna have a fun bake. We will be doing 4 artisan loaves and 3 plain sandwich loaves and 3 chocolate loaves. I'm about to feed my starter, and because as you saw, I took everything out of there, but about 1/4 of a cup. I'm gonna cover these, and I did both of those stretch and folds, but before I finish for my work for tonight, I'm gonna feed my starter 1 cup of flour and 1/2 cup of filtered water. And here's a trick. The thing that I stir all of this with, I keep a glass of water that it fits in, so I don't have to keep cleaning this stuff off because it kills your sink down in your pipes. I don't put this stuff down my sink. I put it outside in dirt. So I can pull this out. I have some chocolate I need to kind of wipe off of that more because I used it to mix the chocolate. And then I can mix my starter in here. I might actually get a fresh one for this because I don't want any salt or sugar. Then I'll just add it into here to soak it for when I wash them up. And I can just pour this out outside. There was more starter in there than I thought. It was closer to 3/4 cup. So I did 1.5 cups of flour and then 3/4 cup of filtered water. And I'll stir this up, and I want it to be like a peanut butter texture. This is just some, I put a paper towel in between this because this is rusted a little bit. So that never touches my starter. See that beautiful texture? It's like peanut butter. This plops into here to soak, and then I'll put the lid on that after I place a towel over there. Always ask about the starter, what do you do? So this is my method. After I feed it, I leave it on the counter until it doubles or triples in size, and I either bake with it, or after it doubles or triples in size, I put it in the fridge, and then when I'm ready to bake again, I take it out of the fridge and I make my bread with the starter straight out of the fridge. And you can look up my videos and see how wonderful they turn out. So that's my method. You can try it. And with my method, I'm never ever throwing starter away. Like I'm not, taking it out of the fridge, throwing some away to feed it, let it grow, and then using active starter. I'm just taking it out of the fridge and making my loaves. All right, so this will stay out too all night. And if I get more orders, I'll have this ready to go to make a couple more batches tomorrow. And if I don't, I'll plop this in the fridge for the next time I bake. Isn't that a beautiful sight? We've got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 loaves going here. Starter fed if we need to make some more in the morning. And these 2 need to be stretched and folded one more time. They would work if I didn't. You've seen my videos on that as well. And while I was doing this last part here, my husband was doing the dishes, bless his soul. Love to hear the clitter clatter of someone else doing the dishes. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it was a little noisy, so sorry about that. I'll probably do those stretch and folds without even recording it. And then we'll see you in the morning. And I'll show you how we're doing the rest of this bake. I only have 1 oven, so I'm showing you my methodical way I do it with 1 oven. Good morning, sunshine. Okay, we're gonna start getting this bread ready to cook. And that starter is it's all the way up to here. So it's ready if I wanna make some more. But I also can just put it in the fridge. Okay, we're gonna start with one of the artisan loaves. And I'll kind of explain how I do it. Let me show you what they look like. Artisan. Now, that one looks just the same. And then this is the sandwich loaf. Way different because we didn't do any stretch and folds. And it's way more hydration. But it's ready. See how it has the jiggle? And then it has a little bit of the dome. And it's pulling off the sides. So it was, let's see. Yeah, it's been about 8 hours or so. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit of flour down. Sometimes I don't do it with any flour, but it does get a mess on my hands, so I'm going to, for this video, put a little flour down because it's fine. This is 2 loaves. So pull it out of the bowl. Let's sprinkle a little more of this on the top. And then cut this baby in half. You can, if you need to, you can also weigh these. But I've done it so much, I've got a feel for it. All right, and we're going to see a bit more. Okay. So I roll it up like a Tootsie Roll, spread it out, roll it up. Then turn it to the side and roll it up again. And I do it in a way that I'm not ripping the dough. And then just tighten it, scoop it around, and tuck it under. Scoop around and tuck under. It's beautiful. There we go. I hear some of the little bubbles in there popping, those bubbles that formed while it's been proofing. Okay, I'm gonna just set there and do one more. This one needs a little flour on it. It's really sticky. Flip it around. Flour both sides. Okay, roll it. I already kind of stretched it out. A little chunk of flour there. Okay. And roll this around and tuck it. There we go. You start to feel it really come together. And you're gonna do it as tight as you can before you feel the pull where it's going to rip. And those look pretty close in size. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is find a bowl. You can also use a banneton, but I'm just gonna use a bowl. That's the size you want it to kind of stay in that shape of. So on some parchment into the bowl. Onto some parchment. Then the cloth, the towel that I had over the original big bowl, I'm going to put over this. Okay, this is going to sit on the counter for 1 hour, and then I'm going to cook it. And as soon as I put these loaves in the Dutch ovens, I'll shape that other batch and put them in here. So as soon as I put the dough into the Dutch oven, then I'll shape the next batch to sit on the counter for an hour. So I'm gonna just kind of move these out of my way. Now, this is the bowl that the dough was in, and I'm just gonna fill it up with really hot water, let it soak for a couple hours, and then I use a paper towel to go in there and get everything off the sides. And then I pour this outside in a bunch of rocks and dirt so that this dough does not go down my sink because it turns into cement. The sandwich loaves, one batch makes 3. And they're so simple from start to finish. You just mix it and then let it do its magic overnight, and then spray these very liberally like this, or you can butter them. Okay, so they're all sprayed very nicely. This is how I do it. I kind of go down mentally and then put a bit of a line. So I have these 3 sections. Then I'm gonna pull them out, literally blob them into here. I do a little bit of kind of shaping it while I'm doing that, and I'll show you on this video. But you don't have to shape it at all. You can just reach in and pour it in there. It's really easy. All right, so I'm reaching in to get that amount. Here it is. Okay, you can just plop it in. Maybe I will just plop one in like that so you can see what I'm saying. I'll put just a little bit more with this. So I'm just gonna plop this in. Plop, plop, that's it. We'll remember that one, it's just a plop in. The next one I'll do kind of the little bit that I do with it. So I just take it. It's really wet, and I don't use any flour because it comes off. That's it. I just kind of roll it around, and I kind of do that just so I can feel how much is in there, because I'm used to the amount. Then I plop it in. And the last one, I get a feel for it, and I look at the size of all of them, and if I have to take some out of one to put in the other, I'll show you how I do that. They're all really even though on this one. The only difference is the one that I just popped in is kind of flat, and the others are kind of rounded out. Okay, that's what it looks like. That's the one I just popped in. Those I shaped a bit. So the same towel that I used to cover this, I'm gonna put over the top of this. Now this takes more like 2 to 3 hours to raise. So that's why I get this ready right now. And I'm gonna cook all of the artisan bread, the 2 different batches, while these are rising. Now one other mat filled with warm water is in between when I get my hands, some dough on my hands, I can use this to soak my hands in and wash all that dough off without putting it down the sink. So that's one other little trick. All right, now for the chocolate loaf. There's 3 of them, again, like the other one. So I'm going to spray these 3 pans and do the same thing. Liberally spread them. So they don't, so it doesn't stick. Just plop right out. Okay, we're gonna do it the same way. Now there's inclusions in this, so they're going to be slightly bigger loaves. So keep that in mind when you start pulling it out. Sorry, that's in the way. Huh. You're like, wait, well, that's really great. Thanks so much for videotaping it. There's a big red pan in the way, and I literally just pulled it out and blobbed it in. I'll show you what it looks like. A couple chocolate chips at the bottom here that I'm going to put in. I'll look at these and see if I need to pull any of the dough off of one or the other. Seriously, look how beautiful that is. Okay, again, I'm going to cover this with the towel that was over the big bowl. And before I had so many of these, and I only had 3, I would just do the whole process with one and then take them out. I do the whole process with those 3, take them out, pour them out, and then shape and put the next batch into the warm pans. I'd let them cool a little bit. But I eventually got more pans because I do a big bake. My husband lost his job and I did a big bake for every day, all but Sunday, for about 6 months. I did probably about twice as much as this. Now I just do a big bake once a week for people that order it. And like, let's say one person ordered a chocolate, I'd still do the 3, then post it on my neighborhood Facebook and say, I've got these available, and everything sells. It's very fun. We're gonna assess where we're at. I'm saving this for the next artisan batch. So we've got these 2 artisan loaves sitting on the counter for an hour for a rise before we bake. And in about 40 minutes from now, I will preheat the oven at 475. Then we have this artisan that's ready to be shaped and formed as soon as I do that step. Then we'll do the same thing 1 hour here. Then these will be ready to go in the oven. And this is the chocolate and regular sandwich loaves. They'll go in the oven. They all fit in the oven. And if they're all ready to go at the same time, I'll show you how I do that. The cooking time goes up a little when I do all of them at the same time. Then I've got this beautiful sourdough starter that has risen and is ready to rock and roll. If when I post I get too many or I get more orders, I have some more to work with to make some more bread that will be done later today, in the early evening. If not, this will just go in the fridge and I'll pull it out the next time I cook. One more thing, if I wanted to shape these right now and put them in different bowls, then I could put it straight away in the fridge. I could bake it anytime I wanted, including after I bake these and after I bake these. Because it can stay in the fridge, it just really slows down the proofing process, and it also makes the sourdough artisan loaves more sour. Gives it more flavor and tang. So if you like that, definitely put them in the fridge. 1 hour and the oven is preheated. So I'm gonna score these. I'm just gonna go down the center. And then across the other direction. Okay, on that one. On this one, I'm gonna do a smiley face. Then a little decoration. You can spend lots more time if you want it really fancy. I'm more into it tastes real good and give it a little bit of fun. This deep score is actually really important because it helps it to expand and pop out. Now I'll put them in, the lid's on. The oven is at 475. Oh, and I'm gonna put these in for 30 minutes with the lids on, and then 20 minutes with the lids off. Timer just went off. It's been 30 minutes with the lids on. Take the lids off. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, back in it goes. 20 more minutes. See you in a minute. Just checking on these. Just took the towels off the top. They're coming along really nicely. Now, this is the one that I didn't shape at all and just plopped in there. And those are the ones I kind of shaped a bit. See how it's not really that different. Then all of these I just plopped in. We're gonna wait till it's up almost to the top, and then we'll throw those in the oven, and I'll show you the time and how we do that. All right, the timer just went off. So I'll take these guys out. Whoa, pretty. Put them on a cooling wrap and put the other ones in that I already got ready and prepared. The smiley face and then the little decorative. And this is when I went across and across this way. We'll look at it more to see. Putting them straight into a cooling rack. You can see where this popped open. See where these 3 corners are? That was how that popped open. See in the little blisters, you want that to happen because it is a good sign that it developed the way it was supposed to in there. And then you can see this one. I think I cut it a little deeper when I did this one, and so that's why we got a really good pop right there. Okay, those are ready. So pretty. I won't be cutting into these because they are for orders, people that are buying them. Double batch now going in. Now these pans are already hot, so these loaves will be a little bit darker. A lot of people prefer preheating their pans, and so I like having both options, a couple lighter loaves and then a couple darker loaves. In for 30 with the lid on, lid off for 20 more. Big bowls that I immediately put hot water in, and now they're all ready to clean. I like to clean it as I go, keep the kitchen in order when I can. So I'm going to kind of show you how I do this. This is the first one I did. So I just take this and I take the towel, it's a paper towel, and I lift up all of the dough that was stuck on the sides. And now it's all mixed in. And you could just like think, oh yeah, I could just put this down the drain. But the problem is when it doesn't have water on it and it starts to dry up, it really is like hard pieces of cement, if you've noticed that. So I'm going to pour this out. Sides coming along. So they're gonna be ready by the time that bread is done in the oven, which is 50 minutes, 50. These will be ready to go in. And I'm just gonna lower the heat in the oven to 425 instead of 475 and cook them for 35 minutes. Second batch that's coming off. It's not like you need to see this again. It's the same thing I did before. It's just so fun always to see. Oh, look how well that popped out. That is one of the benefits of putting in an already hot pan. Look at that. Crazy. I'm going to make some chocolate cupcakes too. 6 cups of flour, 4 cups of sugar, 1 cup of cocoa powder, and I'm going to just give this a little mix. 2 teaspoons of salt and 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And I'm going to give this a really good stir now and stir all these in. As I mix this up with my hand, got it in there, and then just put a kind of a hole in the middle, and we're going to add the liquids. 4 cups of very hot water, and then we're going to add 4 teaspoons of vinegar. That's going to create a reaction with the baking soda that helps it to rise really well. And then 1 3/4 cup of oil. 1 3/4. Okay, I'm gonna stir this up and put them in the cupcake. The bubbling. You'll hear it kind of bubbling because of that reaction this baking soda has with the vinegar. It's really cool. Shiny, wonderful cake batter. Then line these and then give them a spray with some cooking spray and fill these in right to the top, right below the top, about 1/8 of an inch. It went off, so we're gonna pull that bread out and put it on this on this rack. I can't wait to see what it looks like. Look at those. Like I said, it's a little darker when you have the pans preheated. That is, oh, gorgeous. Okay, we're gonna turn this now down to 425 to get ready for our sandwich loaves. And I'll put these on the rack and show them to you again. Oh my goodness, look at that. That is so pretty. That decoration looks pretty there. And then this was the one where I just went across like this. Nice little blisters for us. That is gonna be tasty. And I do like a darker crust, so this is perfect, my perfect batch or loaf, or loaves So we're getting there. We've got 4 artisan loaves ready. These are going to be going in, so let's see how they look. Oh yeah. So I want them to be close to the top. Let's see if they're all going in. So this could go 2 different ways. I could cook the sandwich bread and let these rise a little bit longer and then cook them. And that's probably what I'm going to do, because when they have inclusions, they take a little bit longer to rise and they're heavier. So I might give them a little more time to go up. And in fact, as I look at all of these, I might give them all some more time, and we might do the cupcakes next. So I'm gonna go back to the oven and go to 350 instead and preheat for baking those, and I'm gonna let these raise just a little bit longer. They will come up and pop up in the oven, but I want them to be a little bit airier and fluffier. I'm comparing now the ones that go into the Dutch ovens that are already hot. So I cooked these and put them in a cold Dutch oven, then into their cooking time. Same cooking time, but just a little bit lighter, see? Some people prefer this lighter crust. And this is a little bit crunchier too. See, hear the difference. It's still crunchy, but this really has a crust on it. So that's just personal preference, and I like having both options. I like them both a lot, but when I'm gonna dig into just a piece with some butter on it, this is my favorite. And you see how it does get a more distinct pop too. But they all have the blisters on them, and they will all have a really, really delicious open crumb. We're not cutting into them, but I just know because I've made so many of these loaves. Okay, now on to the cupcakes and then to the sandwiches. Ready to go in. And there's still more for another batch to go in. So I'm going to cook these right now at 350. And it's gonna be about 20 minutes. I'll let you know what it ends up being. 3 dozen and 4 cupcakes, that batch. I think I'll do a chocolate ganache frosting or a buttercream, a vanilla buttercream. Just trying to decide between. Okay, I pulled these bad boys out at 19 minutes. And I bumped it so these concaved in a little in the middle, but it's no problem because I'm putting a frosting on top. And I would much rather have a moist cupcake that isn't domed than a domed cupcake that is dried out. Are you with me on this? And these will have frosting, so they'll be great. Okay, 19 minutes is what we're gonna pull the other ones out. I checked these a few times in between too, and that also affects the temperature. So the second batch will probably be more domed, but they are gonna be so yummy. Extra time, which ends up being about 40 minutes extra for this bread. Looky, looky. So yeah, that's gonna be amazing. So it's got about 20 more minutes, so it's gonna rise a little more. Now you don't wanna rise them too far, because then what happens is they don't get a pop in the oven, and the top layer will just come up and you'll have this big space with air. So the most I would let it go is to the top of this, but not beyond, or you'll have that problem. So these will go in as soon as those cupcakes come out and I am able to raise the temperature. Okay, I am gonna cook them all at the same time, which means I'm gonna add about 5 minutes onto the bake time. I'm going to put these on in the back, and then I'll show you how I do it. I put 4 in the back and then 2 in the front this way. I'll check it at 35 and I'll take these out possibly, and then just leave these in for 5 more minutes if these are getting too dark. I didn't have to open up the oven a few times. After 19 minutes, this is what they look like. So they're still gonna be totally done, but still really soft inside, and they have that beautiful dome. But the other ones will be fine because they're gonna have frosting on the top. Okay, now we're just preheating the oven. It was at 350 for the cupcake, so I'm just bringing it up to 425, but I just wanted to show you. See how you can already see some of that development in there? So that bread will have that open crumb, and it's risen high enough, see, at the top of there, that is going to be light and fluffy. This is 1 bag of chocolate chips and 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. I'm going to microwave this for 50 to 60 seconds and stir it till it's smooth, and then put it over the cupcakes for a ganache. And now you just keep stirring until it becomes silky and smooth after the microwave. It only took 50 seconds in my microwave. Right, it's been 40 minutes. That's how I put it in there. I'm about to pull these guys out, and then I'll put them straight on a cooking rack right away. Here they are, the 3 sandwich loaves, plain sandwich loaves, and then the 3 chocolate chip. Magnificent. They're so delicious. This is my husband's favorite thing right here. He'll pay me $100 for one. Walked in and heard me say that, and then he said,
$200 if I have to.
You love those chocolate ones? So yummy. Okay, you can have one of these. I won't even charge you anything.
Wow.
Just 1 kiss.
Just 1?
Okay, 5 kisses.
About 10.
Oh my gosh. Wow, for sure. 10 kisses. That seems like a really, really amazing deal for me.
For both of us.
Love you, baby. Okay, done for the day for baking. So got vanilla cream and ganache cupcakes. They're really moist and really yummy. Okay, I'm going to let the people know who ordered that there's some yummy bread ready for them, and then also post it on my Facebook neighborhood page to see if anyone wants to come pick up some and buy some. So much fun. I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a fantastic day. I sold everything. I did hold on to 1 chocolate loaf for my husband, and then got some more orders and baked for the next day as well. It was so fun. Thanks for joining All Things Amy today. And remember, all things done with love.